Hello, and welcome to the All on the Line North Carolina Redistricting Leadership Program. I'm going to use this video to talk a little bit about who we are at All on the Line and about the Redistricting Leadership course itself and just some basic facts that you need to know. So who we are. I am Leica Shupek. I am the North Carolina State Director for All on the Line. I'm a native North Carolinian. And I've actually been involved in the Fair Maps issue for a long time before I came to All on the Line as a volunteer, so this issue is super, super close to my heart. So what is All on the Line? All on the Line is a 501c4 campaign, so we're a nonprofit to bring citizens across every issue together to win on redistricting in 2021. So what that means is whether you're interested in climate change issues or you're fighting for reproductive freedom or you're fighting for better gun control, these are all things that are affected by our gerrymandered maps, that are affected by redistricting. So we aim to bring people together across all of those issues to fight for redistricting and fair maps in 2021. So we want to raise awareness about the impact of redistricting on these issues and also find ways for people to engage in the redistricting process throughout. So the North Carolina Redistricting Leadership course. The reason we created this course is that studies and our own experience have shown that ordinary people can change the maps. They can. But you do need training to be effective at doing that. And that's why the Redistricting Leadership course came about. So redistricting is a complex issue. I don't think that any of us are going to dispute that. And some people who are in power want to shut you out of the process. Redistricting, gerrymandering is about politicians drawing maps for their own advantage, and if they have to listen to ordinary citizens, that takes their power away, and they'd really rather not. So the components of this course are all based on our experience navigating the redistricting process. So all the things that we think you would need to know to be super strategic and effective within the process. And we are going to work from the very basics of what redistricting is and what the basic redistricting process in North Carolina is, all the way up to skills like using mapping software. So this isn't just passive knowledge. You're not just going to be sitting around and listening to lots of lectures from me about redistricting history, although there will be a little bit of that because I'm kind of a history nerd. But you'll also be trained to deploy these skills in a very strategic and thoughtful way that is proven to impact how maps are drawn. So what the course covers. So like I said, the course is going to cover everything that we think you would need to know to be effective, smart, and strategic advocate for fair maps in 2021. And that is the redistricting process in North Carolina, what technically is the process, what are the components of it, and understanding that. North Carolina redistricting history. As you may know, we have had a lot of lawsuits about redistricting in North Carolina, not just over the past 10 years, but even before that impact how redistricting happens in our state. And so we will be going through that. Understanding and drawing the maps. This is a super fundamental thing that a lot of people have access to, is really understanding how to look at the maps, how to interpret them, how to understand whether or not fair representation is happening in those maps, or whether they're being gerrymandered for political intent. So we're going to show you all of that. And then we also are going to go through strategic ways to engage in the process, very specific ways to engage in the redistricting process that we know to be effective. And then finally, we will also train you on how to train your own community and mobilize them and organize within your own community, because that is really the fundamental way that we are going to get fair maps is, lots of people getting together who are getting educated on this issue together and engaging together. So how this course is going to run. This is an online course with video lessons. We're going to have some handouts. I will post my PowerPoints, and there will be some quizzes interspersed. And we will probably also have some video lessons, hopefully from some friends at our organization and also people from other organizations on specific topics, because while I know a lot, I don't know everything. And so I'm going to try to lead on some other experts. But no prior knowledge is required for this course. We will work on everything from the very basics of even understanding what redistricting and gerrymandering are, all the way up to these complex mapping skills. So, you can come to us from any level of prior knowledge, and you won't be graded. We're going to have some quizzes, and that's for you to test your knowledge and to see if you felt like you absorbed whatever the lesson was. But I'm not keeping track of any grades. The course content, so the weekly lessons, will be released weekly, or sometimes twice a week. It's just going to depend on what we feel like the workload is. So, and as always, you can feel free to email me with questions, and that's my email address. And you can also look at the course syllabus, which should be posted up, to find my contact information there. And also, I will be holding weekly office hours on Tuesday evenings, and you can find out how to sign up for those there. So I'm so glad that you're here, because North Carolina needs you. So North Carolinians, as you know, if you live here, have lived under racially gerrymandered and partisan gerrymandered maps for 10 years. Probably more than that, honestly. And due to this gerrymandering, I know over the past decade, we've seen all kinds of negative developments. So we've seen cuts to our education funding, cuts in teacher pay. The legislature has refused to expand Medicaid, which would help hundreds of thousands of North Carolinians. We've seen things like HB2 that have threatened the rights of LGBTQ people. And we've also seen lots of problems with our not having clean water or clean air in certain parts of the state, and so many other things that I'm sure that you can also think of. North Carolina can't take another 10 years of gerrymandered maps. We can't take another 10 years of those kinds of negative effects, and we can't take another 10 years of not addressing the issues that are in front of us. So we need your help, and that's why I'm really glad you're here. So here, the course is starting, and I can't wait to get to know you better.